Alright, Budget Magic time. We are playing Blue-Red Thopters this week. And this hand's pretty alright. Only one creature, but that's alright. Double Ghost Fireblade is sweet. I think we'll just lead on Swiftwater Cliffs. I don't think we need to play the Ghost Fireblade right yet. So, I've been working on this deck all week. I've had 3 different versions. Finally, I broke down and realized that I just basically had to play Hangerback Walker. I tried to build non-Hangerback versions, because Hangerback is kind of expensive, but for the deck to be successful, you got to have Hangerback, and it still fits under budget. I was trying to build like a $40 version, like an ultra budget version, basically. So even with the Hangerbacks, it still fits under budget pretty easily. So now I think the play is Ghost Fireblade, equip Ghost Fireblade, attack for 4, Swiftwater Cliffs, ship the turn. So we're getting to the point where we can leave up the Scatter to the Winds, which would be nice. And if our opponent can deal with our Rune Servitor, we can play Thopter Engineer, make the Hasty token, equip it up, and still attack for 3 next turn. So this is a weird mismatch. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Basically, it is sort of like the Scissors decks, the blue-red and Soul Artifact decks that were popular this summer. Then it is also a little bit like the controlling versions of the Thopter Spy Network decks. We're kind of walking the line between the two of them. Play another Ghost Fireblade. I think we're going to try to sit on this Scatter to the Winds this turn. Secure the Waste, X2. Alright, we can deal with 2 1/1 tokens. That's not too threatening. We can still keep attacking. They can chump, but whatever. Save our Scatter for something better. Like a Silk Wrap or something on our Rune Servitor, we would probably scatter that. Stasis Snare. Yeah, like Stasis Snare, for example. So we're going to scatter the Stasis Snare. Evolving Wilds. Alright, let's play Thopter Engineer. Make a Hasty token. Equip it up with Ghostfire. Attack with both. Hit our opponent for at least 3. Get through one of their tokens. Evolving Wilds. Ship the turn. PN Karen will be our... most likely the card we kind of hold in our hand to come back after a Wrath, in case... It seems like if you're playing a Myth-Realized deck, it is a decent Wrath deck. So they could have Planar Outburst or something. Swift Reckoning destroys target tap creature. And that might change things. It might make us play... this PN Karen to get another Hasty token. Alright, let's crack Evolving Wilds. Get... what do we got? Blue, blue... Yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter. We'll take an island. Swiftwater Cliffs. Alright, let's 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we can kind of use these Foundries as protection against a Wrath. So we get some more Hasty tokens here. Equip one up with Ghost Fireblade. Attack with everything. Actually, that was a mistake, because they can activate their Myth Realized and kill our Thopter Engineer, and then we lose haste on our tokens. Not a huge mistake, but it is a mistake. I wasn't considering the Myth Realized. I don't think it's really going to punish us, because we're hitting for 3, 4... Hitting for 4. Our opponent's going to likely chump with their Warrior, so they're kind of to Wrath or Bust, basically. Yep, there's the block. Block Thopter Engineer. We get in for 4. We're going to play the Swiftwater Cliffs because that's the mana we need to activate these Foundries. And also, if we draw another land, it allows us to double activate PN Karen Noir. I think we got it. Double Ghost Fireblade draw is a pretty sweet draw. This might just be the old tank and scoop. Secure the Waste X3. That doesn't do it. because we can just move our Ghostfire to our flyers. Yep, so Ghostfire up a Thopter. Attack for 6 in the air, and that does it. That went pretty well. So against this deck, they're making a bunch of tokens. Kind of makes me want to bring in this other Ether Grid. It's such a good way to ping down tokens. Negates also seem really solid. Fiery Impulse might be less necessary, but they might be playing Monastery Mentor and we just didn't see it. I think we're bringing in Ether Grid, bringing in 2 Negates, and I'm going to go down the Fiery Impulse. Might be wrong, but we're going to try it. And I've actually tried to build this deck for weeks, months even, and I kept getting stuck on the fact that the 3 best cards in the deck are all 4 converted mana cost, which puts you in this awkward position where I just feel so overloaded. I want to be playing, the best cards in my opinion in the deck are Thopter Spy Network, Whirler Rogue, and PN Karen Nalaar. So I want to be playing like 10 or 12 of those, but that's just so many 4-drops. You get these clunky draws, so I kept giving up on it because of that. I finally think I got a decent mix, so I don't feel too overloaded at the 4-drop slot. Don't get to play all the 4-drops I would like, but it's been working alright. But then the problem I ran into is artifacts have a real weakness in the lower converted mana costs unless you play Hangerback. So I tried to play this deck without Hangerback, just couldn't make it work. Really needed to have the Hangerback. Well, we were getting all our Whirler Rogues. We're just going to go with Thopter Engineer. If they counter it, they counter it. Thopter Engineer is actually a really sweet card in this deck. Been super impressed with that. Giving everything haste is very nice. It gives our deck a weird way to pressure like Gideon, Ally of Zendikar and stuff. So you play a Thopter Engineer, then play like a Whirler Rogue, and you can just send all these little flying Thopters at them. Still, I'd rather not see our opponent play a Gideon here. That would be bad for us. Oh, Narset. Narset is much less threatening. Looks at the top card. Horribly Awry. Converted mana cost. Creature spell with converted mana cost 4 or less. Alright. Land? Aha! Alright. So now we get to Whirler Rogue. Sneak that in while our opponent doesn't have access to Horribly Awry. And then Horribly Awry actually can't counter Thopter Spy Network, so we might be able to slip that in next turn. And either way, this lets us start pressuring the Narset, which is important. Getting locked out of casting non-creature spells would be annoying. And I guess the rebound ability can be good depending on what our opponent has. Pumps up Narset. What do they get this time? Anything? Anticipate. Still, it feels like Ghostfire Blade is the card that really makes this deck tick. Another Whirler Rogue. Well, let's send everything at Narset. I think we're just going to pass for now. Leave up Negate and Artificer's Epiphany. If our opponent goes Secure X4, we're going to counter it. Yeah. Yeah, let's negate that. Don't get to cast our Artificer's Epiphany, but I think that's alright. Stasis Snare. Sure. Probably gets our Whirler Rogue. Oh, we're going to get one of our Thopters. Interesting. Pumps up Narset. Are they ever going to miss? Gets another Narset. Good lord. 3 for 3 with Narset. If the top ability on the Narset is just draw a card, it's actually really good. Well, let's attack at Narset. And let's just go with Spy Network. It doesn't get hit by Horribly Awry, but if they have another counter spell, they can counter it. We know that Whirler Rogue would get hit by Horribly Awry. They have another Clash of Wills, okay. So they have a Horribly Awry, a Narset, and an Anticipate in their hand, and one unknown card. Whiff for once, come on. 4 for 4, oh my god! The luckiest Narset of all time. Alright, they're going to anticipate. Can we just dismiss one of these? Yes. Alright. So we know these cards are still in our opponent's hand. And 2 unknowns. Ooh, Ghostfire Blade. Well, let's just attack Narset, see if this draws a response out of our opponent. Secure the waste X1, leaving up just to chump. Interesting. Okay. Well, we know. Oh, let's play Ghostfire Blade. Scatter to the winds. Well, we know our opponent's hand again, and we can use this window to resolve a Thopter Engineer. Horribly Awry, Anticipate, Narset, the cards in our opponent's hand, plus whatever they drew this turn. Pumps up Narset. Come on, miss. Ah, they missed for once. Must be a land on top. Well, they can anticipate here. Yep. Anticipate. Get rid of that. Narset, Horribly Awry, and 2 unknowns. Their draw step and whatever they anticipated for. And presumably, the top card of their library was a land, if it missed with Narset. It seems like they hit with basically every non-land card in this deck. I haven't really seen any creatures. Do they have a Wrath? That would probably be their best play. Myth realized. Alright, we're back to knowing their entire hand. Another Narset and a Horribly Awry. Ooh, Hangerback. We could play Hangerback. We can't really. So let's see. Attack Narset, attack our opponent. Play Artificer's Epiphany. Trying to play around this Horribly Awry, but eventually it's going to hit something. Valving Wilds, ship the turn. Don't mind getting another land. We haven't drawn a land in a while. Countering up the Myth, sure. They probably got to play the Narset this turn. And we're going to try to get them to hit a Rune Servitor with their Horribly Awry instead of a Whirler Rogue or Hangerback. Countering up the Myth, sure. Magic is a lot easier when you know what's in your opponent's hand. There's an Narset. Gets a counter on the Myth. Pumps it up. The third Anticipate. Well, we still know most of their hand. Swift Reckoning to kill Whirler Rogue. Puts another counter on Myth Realized. That's fine. So let's crack a Valving Wilds. Get an island. Ghostfire Blade. Well, let's go with Rune Servitor. See if this draws out the Horribly Awry. Nope. Then I guess we'll just go Ghostfire Blade. Equip up a Thopter. And hit Narset for 4. So we can potentially kill Narset next turn, and then we'll just move the Ghostfire Blade to the Servitor to block Myth Realized if they attack. So they're going to anticipate end of turn. They really could use a Wrath. And we're 1 mana away from playing Hangerback X3, which gets around the Horribly Awry anyway. So the Anticipate's gone. We know that. Land. Pumps it up. So another Swift Reckoning. So they can kill a Thopter or wait and play at instant speed to kill anything. Opponent's going to pass. Evolving Wilds. Alright, let's go another Rune Servitor. There's the Horribly Awry. Alright, we finally got rid of that. So let's equip up our Thopters. Attack Narset with both. I'm expecting Swift Reckoning on the one that has the Ghostfire Blade. Alright, so we got rid of that finally. Got rid of Swift Reckoning. They keep putting counters on their myth. We hit Narset to 3. Now we'll just do play Hangerback X1. We have another counter. Scatter to the winds. Alright, our opponent is empty-handed. We got him there. They have a big myth, but it's not that threatening. We're going to be able to start playing Whirler Rogues next turn. They hopefully will resolve. And we're almost through the second Narset. One thing I will say about Narset is, man, does it take a lot to kill her. Stasis Snare? Alright. They can hit our Thopter Engineer to turn off haste. Or they can wait and try to hit whatever we put the Ghostfire Blade on. But killing our tokens just because of Ghostfire Blade, that's still a good trade for us. They're spending actual spells to kill Thopter tokens. What did they draw? Planar Outburst with Awaken. Interesting. Alright. So they do have Wraths. We each draw a card. We know they have a Stasis Snare. What do we draw? Scatter. So they can't turn on their myth at the moment. We actually wouldn't mind drawing a land, and then we could play Whirler Rogue and leave up Scatter. I mean, they could turn on their myth, but they'd have to use their planes they animated, or awaken. Grab an island. Thopter Engineer. We know they have Stasis Snare. Yeah, let's just play Whirler Rogue. And Ghostfire Blade up one of the Thopters. Ship the turn. We know our opponent still just has Stasis Snare. Whiffs with Narset. Cracks Flooded Strand. Wonder if they Stasis Snare now, or if they wait. If they wait, we can potentially scatter it, which would be sweet. They're going to fire up their Myth Realized. Probably just chump with a Thopter here. It's a lot of damage to take. Attacks with both. Alright, we will just chump with a Thopter. No sense in trying to double block because we get blown out by the Stasis Snare. Hopefully they wait and try to instant speed Stasis Snare. But I guess we're kind of fine either way because we can play Thopter Engineer. Yeah, if they're going to Stasis Snare right now. Do they hit the token? That's gotta feel so bad. Spend so many spells hitting Thopter tokens. Yeah, they're working their way through little bits of... Alright, that was a good draw. So now we get to play Thopter Engineer, make a hasty token, equip it up with Ghostfire Blade, get to kill Narset, finally. Leave up Scatter to the winds. Now I think we're in pretty good shape. If we have to, we can chump with our Thopter Engineer on Myth Realized. I wouldn't mind keeping it alive, because making our Foundry of the Console tokens is hasty is nice, Whirler Rogue tokens hasty. But we can't take 9, I don't think. That's basically lethal. So we're just gonna chump again. Swift Reckoning on a token. Yeah, I'm not going to bother to counter that. I don't think it's worth it. Ether Grid. Not too exciting yet, but it could get good eventually. Let's just play another Whirler Rogue. Get in for 2 with Whirler Rogue. Ship the turn. Not equipping because we want to leave up Scatter. Probably should have tapped to leave up an island so we don't have to take a damage off Shivan Reef. Opponent just keeps drawing Swift Reckonings. Yeah, I don't think we're going to fight over that either. Gonna attack with Myth Realized and the Plains, I assume. We'll just block Myth Realized, drop to 5. Ooh, Reality Shift is awesome. They don't have any creatures, and it gets rid of that Smith. So I think our plan now is just equip up a Thopter with Ghost Fireblade. And we're going to just try to clean the board here and play the control role. Double block the Plains. Reality Shift the Myth Realized. And then take over the game from there with counter backup. Activates Myth. Attacks with both. Alright, we will Reality Shift, get rid of this Myth Realized. Oh, did not pay blue mana. Alright, that takes care of the biggest problem. Opponent's going to try to negate. Unfortunately for them, we have been sitting on this Scatter forever. So they get a 2-2, but a 2-2 is not that scary. And since they don't have creatures, the odds of that being something they can flip are extremely low. Double block, get rid of the Plains. This has been a long drawn out match, but I think we're getting there. Mountain, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sack our Foundry. Play a Mountain. Equip up a Thopter so we can block the Manifest past the turn. Our opponent has played an insane amount of spells. Hopefully they don't have Dig Through Time in their deck. That would be annoying. No attacks. Rune Servitor. Let's see if we can resolve Rune Servitor. If we do, we can attack with both tokens. Horribly awry. Alright, so we're just going to attack for 3 with one of our tokens. Move over the Ghostfire Blade. Play our Ether Grid. And then we can ping for 1 as well with the Ether Grid. Alright, no big whammies for a couple of turns, and I think we got this. Alright, ping our opponent. The problem now is our opponent's losing on board, so drawing counters isn't all that appealing. Oh man, that was a huge draw. Let's see if we can resolve this. Oh, it resolves? That's huge. Alright, so we get to attack with both tokens. Can we kill our opponent? 5-4, not quite. We're 1 turn away. I probably should have moved over Ghostfire Blade, but it is unlikely to matter now. And we got there! Sweet! It was an island. Alright, well, that was kind of a weird brew. It was a sweet deck, though. I like the Narset deck. But, yeah, we got there.